game ain't got online, bro. You mean to tell me a game that I done put hundreds days of my fucking life into ain't got no fucking online, man? Are you kidding me? Sony got to be the only company to take a W and then just take a myriad of fucking L's. I don't get it, bro. I don't get this company. People tell me I'm overreacting. I'm just doing too much. I'm crying, this, that, and the third, right? But one of my complaints was Sony will announce something and then revert what they said right after that, right? Right after that. It's a fucking nightmare, people. Everything that has gone wrong, get Murphy's Law out this motherfucker, right? And, you know, I couldn't, you know, if you would have told me 3 hours ago Jack Move was gonna get delayed again, I was about to tweet something about this shit, right? But I said, no, it ain't gonna get delayed again. I'm overreacting, right? Well, look at here. Not only did it get delayed again, it got delayed indefinitely. Meaning, they don't know when this motherfucker gonna come out. Come on, dog, stop this, bro. This don't sit right with me, bro. I told y'all PlayStation been moving weird for a fucking minute, dog. We'll never bring our games to PC. Bring a game to PC. Well, we're testing the waters. Why are you testing the waters? You just say you will never do it again. Well, we just testing the waters. This will be the only one. Financial report come out. Oh, we thinking we gonna do it again. Bitch, you just told me this was the only one you testing. Like, what that mean? Just imagine if they didn't have Square Enix and fucking Insomniac games to lean on. God damn. Now I see why they did cross generation, because if they didn't, we wouldn't have no fucking games. There's about to be more SKUs of different types of PlayStation 5s than there are exclusive games to the PlayStation 5. How? It makes no sense, and niggas be defending this shit. I'm not in the wrong here, people.
And I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
Hey guys, what's going on? So this is going to be a quick video. As you guys can see by the length, not a lot has happened obviously today, but hey, you know, at the rate things are going, we'll get more news probably tomorrow and I'll be back. But anyway, before I start, I want to give a big shout out to my boy JackmoveJohnny. Links to his channel is in the description below. Make sure you tune in to Are We Live, bruh, whenever he does it. It's some of the best real talk you can hear in regards to PlayStation, aside, of course, from yours truly. Shout out to my boy, much love. Let's get into this news, man. So it's funny. I talked about exclusivity in my last video and how it's ending. Obviously, Microsoft, Phil Spencer's pretty much talking about the future without games or companies being held, you know, in conjunction with exclusives. More gamers have an option, and basically they're just selling you a platform, or in this case, an ecosystem for, you know, their respective way of how you go about or interact with that particular side. Again, a lot of people are having weird reactions to this. People are just, the people who are having the most weird reaction to this, obviously, are the PlayStation fanboys, the dudes that don't buy the games. Listen, to all of you that claim to be so passionate about PlayStation and all these games, quote unquote, if you bought the games, let me repeat this, if you bought the games when it mattered, we wouldn't be in this situation. Those games would have had sequels. Sony would not be finding ways to outsource and try to get more money out of us by remaking the same stuff that already sold, because you conditioned them, and by, especially with the damage control, by hyping up the same stuff over and over and not holding them accountable where it, you know, it was necessary. Most of you dudes have set us up to this point. That's on you. I personally do not care. Like I said, I've grown up. I don't give a shit about your console war. I care about the survival of gaming. And as you guys are clearly seeing with the way things are going, where the industry is wanting games to be $100 because games are too expensive and they're not selling, that right there is a big problem for all of us. So at least, unless you guys really are going to just let go of this ridiculous ego and let go of this ridiculous sense of pride that you guys don't even, like, funny thing is, you don't even have the sense of pride. It goes out the window as soon as the game is announced for PC. You don't even acknowledge the game anymore, which goes to show how much you really care about exclusivity. a lot of you, the reason why a lot of you are so upset about this is because a lot of you have either built platforms, your whole internet presence in general is around PlayStation hate and tribalistic natures that fall when it comes to console wars. Once that shit is going, you have nothing. That is the main reason most of you dudes are against games going everywhere without seeing the benefits that have happened in the long run. Since Days Gone has went to PC, there have been more talks of people wanting a sequel for Days Gone in general. And people are upset that Sony's not doing a sequel for that. I'm just saying. Helldivers opened the door. And the funny thing about this, before we even get into the point, Helldivers is one of their most successful games that we got last year, and that's a service game. And you guys are acting like service games are bad in terms of Sony. But here's the funny thing. If the service games are gone, and like you guys want, if the service games are gone, we take the service games out the equation, where do you think Sony's going to get their money from, their extra money from? Where did they get their extra money from? Sony's going to have to cut into the very thing that you guys champion day in and day out, and that is their first-party exclusives, the AAA budget ones. If they don't have the live service games, if Sony cancels the live service games and the live service games don't do what's expected, they're going to cut into the AAA budget games, and those are going to be the games they use to make the games that you quote-unquote want. That's how it's going to go. You don't believe me? Just go back to what Shuhei Yoshida said. And that right there, I'll yield back. Speaking of this and exclusives, the CEO of Moon Studios flat out said that PlayStation will eventually abandon the console exclusives mentality and follow Microsoft's strategy. Now, the reason why he goes on about this, granted, he mentioned his game, No Rest for the Wicked. We've seen this game at a few events. He basically said how, he didn't want Microsoft to have that strictly as exclusive. He wanted to have that open so more gamers have an option and the game can have more of a chance to sell, and that way more gamers get their hands on it. And guess what? That can give them more funding so they can get a sequel and, of course, pay off the cost of the game. He also talked about the growth of consoles in general and how consoles have always stayed at around 120 to 150 million in regards to sales where it comes to home consoles. The PlayStation 5 is already at 70 million consoles at 5 years on the market. And mind you, the main selling point of the PlayStation 5 has been literally the success of the PlayStation 4 generation. Most of the people who have experienced PlayStation 5 this generation are looking at it underwhelming. A lot of people are not too thrilled with playing the same stuff that we've already played on PlayStation 4. People want new experiences. People have been asking for new experiences. And unfortunately, Sony has not provided them with crazy new experiences at all when it comes to this. This right here is a constant problem. There's been more studio layoffs. There's been more studio closures and games canceled than games dropped on PlayStation 5 hardware. And especially from the first party side of things. That's how it's been. And again, the industry is telling you flat out, man, these games cost too much. And with the way Concord failed and Sony upcharging you on everything and just looking for different ways to get money out of you, no surprise here whatsoever on what he's saying. I agree with what he's saying in terms of reaching more gamers, in terms of growth. Yes, I do agree that this will eventually happen. I do agree that this will benefit gamers in the long run because gamers will have options. And I do think gaming as a whole will benefit from this in general. Absolutely. People saying this will destroy PlayStation. You dudes. You dudes are crazy. And you guys never believed in PlayStation to begin with if you're saying ridiculous claims like that. And for that, we're going to move away. Speaking of games, ladies and gentlemen, Sony, well, PlayStation in general, but really, again, Sony, I guess. Sony has lost another exclusive game to the PC. PS5 is no longer going to have this exclusive, obviously, and that's Rise of the Ronin. Rise of the Ronin was actually well received last time I checked, and I think it did pretty good. But this game has not been mentioned at all, so it's actually cool to see that this game is going to get an extra surge of life in the marketplace. For those of you wondering when this game's dropping on PC, it is dropping March 10th or March 11th. I saw two different articles in regards to this. The game's going to be $50. It's going to support 8K, obviously. It's going to have DirectX 12, Ultra, and Super Ultra Wide support, 120 FPS, ray tracing, 3D audio, AMD Fidelity, FX Super Resolution, DLSS, of course, and everything else. And yeah, it's just in time, of course, for everybody getting excited for the whole 50 series cards, etc. It's a great time to drop it. A lot of support. Awesome. Looking forward to it. But again, you know how it'd be. But I'm gonna end this video off on a hopeful note and a positive note, obviously. We do got some news here that's interesting. Now, before I go into this is a massive rumor. A massive rumor. I'm pretty sure you can already piece this together. This is a massive rumor. It has not been confirmed by Sony nor Santa Monica. Obviously, a lot of these announcements start off as rumors, as you are well familiar with. But according to this, man, Sony reportedly is developing a new God of War game that is set in Egyptian mythology. Now, this comes courtesy of a well-known insider. He has a very, very well track record, and he shared this on his Patreon, and this is what he had to say. His name is Daniel Rickman, by the way. But Rickman revealed that Sony is currently casting Middle Eastern actors for an unknown AAA title. He added that the project is likely to be the next God of War that explores Egyptian mythology. And that's all he said. Now, going back to God of War 2018, if you look at Ragnarok, if you guys remember, Ragnarok was supposed to be DLC for 2018 because they ended it with Thor showing off his, showing off Mjolnir. It got so ambitious, basically, according to Cory Barlog. It got so ambitious that they ended up being the true sequel to God of War 2018, and it was very well received. It was a great game. Now, before it was going to do that, the Egyptian theme was actually supposed to be the next game in Sony Santa Monica's lineup. So, again, this is just going back to something that we've already kind of knew about in the back burner. It's one of those type of ideas, and this right here is going to be the future now. I'm actually looking forward to this. This is actually going to be fun. Obviously, there's no release date for this because this game is probably some years off. By the time we'll probably see this, if we're lucky, we do get it this generation. But by the time we see this, it's going to be PlayStation 6. This might end up being a launch title for PS6 because I'm not unless this generation goes longer than I think it is, which I hope it does because it really does. I'm not sure, but that's what's going to happen in regards to God of War. All I gotta say to end the video is Kratos versus Anubis. Take my money. That's all I gotta say. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, that is the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Sound off, and you guys have a good one. I'm out. Peace.